Oh man, we're live. Hey, Lindsay.
Oh my gosh.
Lindsay, we're live.
We're live. It worked.
We're live. This is the new and improved Taylor Primetime. We're so live. Check this thing out.
What time is it? What time is it? It's prime time. It's prime time. What time is it? What time is it? It's prime time. It's prime time. Oh yeah. It's Tuesday night, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Taylor Guitar's Primetime. It's the Guitar Nerd Show for guitar nerds just like you. And we're happy to be back for another show. Please say hello to Miss Lindsay Love. The show is all about you.
All about you.
All about you. And Mr. J. Parkin, the man, the host, the myth, the legend of Primetime.
Yes, we did it. Hey, we have a new platform here we're working with. What do you guys think? It's pretty awesome.
I
I'm
love
all
it.
about it.
Did we pay
I'm all
for
about
this?
it. Look, you can do cool stuff like this and like that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Hey, check this out. Check this out, people. Today's show is all about Lindsay Love.
Yeah.
Check this out. Wah.
Oh my goodness. Talk about
Okay.
budget increase.
I know we improved. We got like $15 more to the primetime budget. So we made it a thing and we're really excited about it.
Yeah.
And we're so excited to have you all on the show with us. You know what's interesting is I got this view right now where I can watch everything from here now, but I'm also watching over here. This is wild. This is going to take some getting used to. Andy Lund from the North Woods. How are you doing up in the cold?
I'm doing well, Jay. It's about 7 degrees right now, something like that, somewhere around there. So it's not below zero. Good.
7 degrees. You and I were talking on the phone yesterday, or actually we had a little video meeting, and you told me a funny story about the snowplow that came through and plowed in your truck with California plates. Go for it, Andy. Let us know how that felt.
Well, and I actually just updated my phone. It's -2 right now, so it's falling. That's what's been happening in the evening time. The high today was about 5 or 7, and then now it's -2. And by the time prime time is over, it'll probably be about -4, I'm guessing. Yeah, anyway, it was kind of funny. My brother came up for the weekend. We hung out. We did some snowmobiling. And then a guy came and plowed the driveway and completely plowed in my truck with California plates on it still. So we took pictures, sent it to my mom. She's like, I don't know. I hope you're okay up there. You just stay warm, okay? You're not used to that.
It's so cold though. Your internet connection is amazing.
Yeah, it's great. I'm sure.
Yeah, no, it's good. Everyone loves it.
$15 for this upgrade. Did we have to take out a loan or anything to pay for the $15 upgrade for this show?
For this upgrade? No, we didn't. Not necessarily. We just I started playing around with some things and said, hey, we might as well get better at this game, right? That we're playing here called Taylor Primetime, and that's it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, enough chit chat. We have a show to get to. This is your Guitar Nerd Talk Show. Hi, Mom. Welcome to the show. But for those of you who don't know, my mom watches every single show. It's fantastic. And she told me there's a bunch of things going on at the same time. There might be some sports she's got to watch tonight. So I think it's time to invest. I should talk to my brothers. We should invest in like multiple screens for my mom to be able to hang out on Tuesday. Yeah, definitely. We'll get there. Anyway, so tonight's show is all about getting to know Lindsay Love. She's our co-host, and this is awesome. You know, the title of the show originally was For the Love of Guitars. That was a play on words. We did this all by ourselves in the marketing department. But the very best part about all of the communication that went out for this show in the marketing department is I need to make myself a little larger real quick so that you guys can understand how serious I am. Check this out. We spelled Lindsay's name wrong, which was the best. Okay, so originally we can't pronounce Lindsay's first name. It's the Dutch pronunciation, right?
It is the Dutch. It is the Dutch. Yeah.
It's Lindsay. Last name hyphenated.
Yeah.
Love-Bivens. But Bivens, right? Bivens. No, that's not what we sent out. No. We sent out Bevins. And not only was it so wrong just on the visual, it was wrong on the visual part. It was right in some of the copy and wrong in some of the copy. It was such a mess. So, all right, I'll make
But we all okayed it. Including myself.
Yeah, you definitely okayed it. You definitely were like, yeah, that looks good. So here we go. The show's all about you. But before we get into the episode about Lindsay Love and what she does at Taylor Guitars and her history with guitars, we have a little show the love. I don't know if, Andy, if you want to play a song, you don't have to play a song. I threw this one at you last minute, so it's up to you.
I'm going to pass on this one.
Okay, you're going to pass on the song. That's totally fine. You pass on the song, but we have a show the love. And this is an internal show the love to our coworkers. I want to give a virtual high five, shout out, and virtual hug to all the men and women in production who are working tirelessly to get guitars out of back order and into the stores so that men and women who want to buy guitars can actually get their guitars, maybe guitars that they ordered. They're doing a heck of a job. Our shipping department is also working tirelessly. And I wanted to mention our shipping department because now we're finally getting those trivia prizes out to you guys. So past trivia winners, you're going to be receiving those in the next week. I'm excited about that. And then just a shout out to our HR and training team. Our HR team has been taxed from the beginning of a pandemic last year, right? So we're going on a year of this thing. And our HR team has worked tirelessly. I've said tirelessly about 15 times now, but it is true. They work so hard to make sure that we have the staff in our shipping department and in our production, in our manufacturing plants, both Tecate and El Cajon. They make sure that we have the staff so that we can build the guitars and get them to you guys. So this is a virtual high five internally to those folks. We love them dearly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And on to the next segment. Thank you, thank you. On to the next segment. What are we listening to? What are you listening to? Andy, do you want to play music here? What's up? Yes, he does.
What's new? What is new? What are you listening to? What are you listening to?
What are you listening to, Lindsay?
Yeah, lately I've been kind of jamming to Robert Glasper. He's a jazz pianist, but also has done a really good job of like kind of merging jazz and R&B and neo soul and all sorts of stuff. And so he has an album out called Dinner Party, and he also has a single out. So been jamming to him.
Andy.
I'm going old school, Jay. I just been revisiting things that I love, and this record for me is something that I would take to a desert island. This is Queens of the Stone Age, like clockwork. I mean, their whole catalog is killer, of course, but I just love this record so much that that song, "The Vampire of Time and Memory," is like burned into my DNA. And I'm going to give you a little sneak preview, Jay. The next thing I'm going to revisit is this record, "The Soft Bulletin," Flaming Lips, 1999. Killer, super theatric, sort of post Pink Floyd record. So I don't know if it's the cold weather or what. It's making me do that, but I'm going back to old stuff. Nothing new for me.
Nothing new.
It's good.
Nothing new. Old stuff.
It's good stuff.
Nothing new at all. Well, I am listening to, man, I talked to you about it the other night, Lindsay. I cannot stop listening to the Black Pumas record.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And then they just recently came out with a newer deluxe version that has probably my favorite arrangement of Fast Car by Tracy Chapman.
Yeah. Okay.
On it. It's perfect. The record from start to finish. There is a song on there, probably the 4th or 5th track, called Fire, that I can't not get out of my head when I'm not listening to I Know What Love Is.
Right. That's we're all listening to that.
We're all listening
We're
to
all
that.
listening to that.
As a matter of fact, you should be too. Down at the bottom of your screen, you see here, look, we're giving you a little reminder. If you haven't listened to I Know What Love Is this week, just go to iknowwhatloveis.com and watch the video, click through on your favorite streaming platform, and listen and watch the song. I mean, listen to it. All you need to do is listen to that song, and it helps Music Cares and helps men and women and artists who have been challenged by COVID-19. So just wanted to say that real quick.
Somebody in the chat, because I'm kind of watching the show too, said they thought of me when during the Super Bowl when her performed. Did you guys see her perform?
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't she incredible?
I mean, come on.
Come on.
I thought for what it's worth.
Yeah.
I thought all of the performances were fantastic.
Eric Church and Jasmine Sullivan. I also listened to her record. I won't say the title because it might not be appropriate for prime time, but I listened to her record. It's really good.
It is really good.
So yeah, they were all good. All good.
Andy, did you watch the Super Bowl? Did you get the Super Bowl in the Northwoods?
I believe that it was on in the Northwoods, but I did not watch it. I was going to go to a place to watch it, and they were closed for some reason. I took it as a sign that maybe it wasn't a good time to go force the issue and congregate with a bunch of people. So I listened to it on the radio on Westworld 1.
Old school.
Which was kind of interesting. I listened to the first.
We're about to get into guitars because that's why we're here. That's why we have a Guitar Nerd talk show.
Right.
But we're having 2 moments of sports before 2 minutes of sports. How's that? Moment of sports 1. It's bugging me out a little bit. I had to itch my ear. I'm wearing a Lakers hat. And I'm wearing a Lakers hat for you, Lindsay. It's actually not that big of a deal. I have so much respect for the Lakers, and I was a giant Kobe fan. And we actually had a show 2 weeks ago on the anniversary of his passing. And it was, I was going to bring something up, but that one messed me up so bad as a sports fan, just in general, that I couldn't do it live on the show. So right now I'm wearing this hat for you, but also
Kobe,
in honor of Kobe.
Absolutely.
And so that's that. Second sports thing, we can just get the argument over. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just get the argument over. And this is coming from somebody who is a Michigan State fan, tried and true. Tom Brady is the best quarterback ever.
Yeah.
Period. Deal with it. Don't You don't have to hate yourself when you look at yourself in the mirror and you say it, but that is just the truth. It hurts me to say that to a Michigan alum or about a Michigan alum, but at the end of the day, come on, that's wild.
Yeah, it's undisputed at this
It's
point.
undisputed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he ain't no Serena, but
yeah,
he's pretty close.
Yeah,
in football terms. All right, now on to guitars. Lindsay Love is our guest. You are here. You joined the show a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so good to have you. You are a guitar player. Taylor, you've been here. What? You were here, you left, you came back. We'll get into that in just a second. If you have not heard Lindsay sing or play guitar, I'm going to show something for about a minute real quick. If you haven't seen this or heard this, be prepared for Lindsay Love to rock your world. We'll be right back.
Don't ask me how it all works out. You know I don't have the answer. But with your love, things will get better. When this is over, we'll all be together.
Come on.
Wow.
Right?
Cool.
That was cool, right? We stepped up the game here.
That was worth $15 right there.
This
Totally
production,
worth $15.
this production. I mean, the logo in the corner right next to your nice. I mean, this is too much.
It's too much. Maybe we should stop. All right, never mind. This is awesome. Lindsay Love. Welcome to Taylor Primetime. We've had you on the show before. The first time you were on the show, you were a guest of ours. You were a guest from our repair department.
Right.
You no longer work in the repair department. You work with me on the marketing team.
Yeah.
And it has been such a pleasure to have you on the team. It's so great. It also has been killer to have you on this show. But we're going to get to know you a little bit more. How's that? I have some questions. Andy, I'm sure, has plenty of questions. And we're going to take some Q&A from the feed in a little bit. But right out of the gate, let's get to know Lindsay Love just a little bit more.
I'm so hot.
Why? Well,
I don't do this well.
You don't?
No.
Maybe it's your pink jacket that's not pink.
Maybe Jay, you should make her bigger on screen, so that'll make it feel better.
Okay.
You make her bigger on screen? Okay, ready?
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, stop.
Lindsay Love.
Let's do it.
Welcome back to Primetime.
Yes.
Weekly Primetime. All right, we'll even ourselves out real quick so you don't feel so nervous. I mean, come on, you're a performer. You do this a lot.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
It's okay. One of the reasons we wanted to do this is because, it's interesting. We've been doing this show now. We're on our second season. This is second season, episode 3. And not a lot of people know about us, right? True. We had Andy Lund on a couple of times to talk about shapes and tone woods. We're going to go back to that. That'll be fun. We have some really good ideas how we're going to represent showing the tone equation, right? Shapes, tone woods, and then the player. Andy and I had a really good idea the other day. It was actually mainly Andy's idea, so I'm stoked on that. Gabriel is going to fall in love with it too, because we might have to enlist him to come back. But this show is about you, Lindsay.
Okay.
All about you. Lindsay, when did you start playing guitar? First of all, introduce yourself and what in the heck do you do at Taylor Guitars?
Yeah. So I'm Lindsay, and at Taylor Guitars, I'm the artist and community relations manager. And I think we'll get into a little bit like what I'm doing, but the broad thing is basically self-explanatory, that I'm working to build and maintain and strengthen and develop new relationships with artists, and also with community organizations locally and regionally, and even throughout the country, that have like-minded visions aligned with Taylor. So, and just looking to kind of be that face and that to them, and to up awareness of what they're doing, and see if there's ways to partner. So,
yeah, it's going to be exciting. you were in the repair department. So I want you to know, in the marketing department, when we have a repair question, we go directly to Lindsay now. So it's pretty funny. We have like a main line to humidity answers, which is fantastic. You've been an awesome addition to the marketing team. But let's go back to early years when you started playing guitar. I absolutely love this story just a little bit. Like I bring it up a lot because it makes me so happy. But when did you start playing guitar?
Yes, I started. I'm 34 now, and I started when I was 11. I started in 6th grade. My dad was a multi-instrumentalist. He was literally like a virtuoso, a flautist and saxophonist, but he played keys. He also played guitar. He was in the Air Force band. He was incredible. And so music was always an important part of our life. And it was not a choice. My dad, knowing the science behind, and the studies behind music, if kids are in music, they're better in school. They have, they're better in math and science and all these things. So my dad is like, as soon as we got to middle school and you have an elective, my dad's like, that elective is not yours. It's mine, and it's band. And so he gave me saxophone at first. And he had guitars, but he was like, you're going to play in the band, the concert band. And so I hated the saxophone. One, we walked to school and it was like 2 miles away, and I didn't want to carry a saxophone to school every day. And so I hated it. But then also I just really hated the saxophone. I love the instrument, but I didn't want to play it. I wanted to be a drummer. And so I got to school, put my saxophone in a little cubby hole, and told the teacher I was a drummer. But I was also kind of a bad kid, so I got in trouble a lot. So yeah. So basically, after a lot of stuff, the teacher called my dad and was like, your daughter would be a great drummer if she just would pay attention. And the teacher my dad was like, drummer? She's a saxophonist. What is happening? So months later, fast forward, still getting in trouble with the teachers. They kicked me out of band, and my dad was livid. And he's like, I'm your teacher now. You're going to play something. And it was guitar. And I ended up loving it, but I was getting tested like weekly. Like I'd get he gave me a bunch of classical books, like solos from Fernando Sor, things like that. And I would get tested weekly. And if I failed my tests, that was that. There was trouble that he had.
So your dad, your dad used guitar as punishment.
Yep. Yeah.
Unique. I remember that Sor book. That Sor book is so hard. It's like written to make you do things you've never ever done on guitar before. I swear. Somehow it's like that's the sinister plot behind the cool songs and the exercises. And it's like I didn't think I could actually do that on a guitar. But man, yeah, the blue covered Sor book. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
I didn't get through the whole thing, man, but I do remember like just going
It's such a good book. Such a good book.
All right. Dad's punishment. So good. So was Dad an influence on genres or styles of music?
Yeah. I mean, my dad exposed me at a young age to all genres, really heavily. He was a jazz head. And so, and gospel head. He loved all that stuff. He loved, good, classic rock. It was limitless. So we were exposed. And then my mom, she grew up in the Netherlands, and she was a huge rock head. So she was Pink Floyd, all of them, like Rolling Stones, everybody. So we really were exposed to every genre at a young age. And so I didn't have a preference. I mean, obviously in my younger years, I cling to hip hop, cause 80s and 90s hip hop is everything. So that's where I kind of went, hip hop and R&B. That was my personal preference, but yeah.
Hip hop and R&B. And you've been trying to educate me on jazz guitar for a while. All right, that's a little bit inside baseball. We have a joke. I've never been the biggest fan of jazz guitar. I like jazz, but sometimes jazz guitar, I lose it sometimes. So I leave Andy Powers and Lindsay Love to guide me into jazz guitar. That's fair, right? You got to have mentors. You're my jazz guitar mentor. I appreciate you.
Wow, I'm glad to let you know that jazz guitar doesn't suck. It's really good. It's really good.
There is some really good jazz guitar. I found this out. Just don't tell. Never mind. I got to keep this persona. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Don't tell
Yep.
everybody that I said that on the air.
Fair.
Okay. So, Lindsay, when did you start working at Taylor? The first time?
Yeah, the first time was it was a while ago, so I'm gonna get my years wrong. I think it was 2006 or 2005. 2006. I had just left Point Loma. I was like in my I was in my junior year at Point Loma Nazarene. I was gonna be in my junior year, but because of scholarship stuff and because my band that I was playing with had just kind of like got signed to an indie label, I talked to my guitar mentor there and my teacher, and they were like, "This is what you're in school for. You're here for music. Go do what you want to do." So I left, and it was like a perfect storm. But my dad was like, "All right, if you're not in school, you're going to be paying bills." And so obviously in the band life at that stage, I wasn't signed to like an advance of $1 million. So I had to get a job, and I was like, "Okay, where can I work?" And my dad's like, "Taylor." So I started really young at Taylor. While I was doing like band stuff, I would work at Taylor, and it was just a perfect job. And so yeah, I started when I was like 20, and I started in the final assembly department. And the first year, just assembling guitars, and I was just like super quick and really detail oriented. And I would, a quality control, you get stickies back, like based on like hopefully you don't get any stickies back, but based on how you build, you could get stickies back if something's wrong. And I was just consistently not getting stickies back, which was really cool. I didn't want to do rework. So you just do it once, check twice and do it once so that you don't have to do it again. And then from there, I started doing production repair. Literally within 8 months, I stopped kind of building, was just doing production repair and started getting my chops up under Rob. And am I saying too much, or you want to keep going there?
No, keep
Yeah.
going. That was awesome. I had
Yeah.
no clue.
Yeah.
Wait a second. So Lindsay is that she's a player. She's a musician. She's a player. She's a performer. We'll get into that in a minute. You're not only a guitar maker, you repair guitar. What? Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So I just started repairing and then learning more advanced repairs under Rob McGargle. So I was at Taylor for probably almost 7 years when I left like full time to pursue music but yeah, all the time while I was there, the first stint, it was all doing repairs.
So check this out. So another cool thing about this new platform we're rocking real quick. Ready for this one? We can highlight some of the comments. And here's a great jazz comment from our friend Hunter. Jazz guitar where you need extra 3 extra fretting fingers to play chords. I would back you on that, Hunter. That's a good one. And then we got a question from Jim. Now that you're talking about pursuing music professionally.
Yeah.
Where, for whom have you played?
Yeah. So I was in my own band, and we were, I would say we were a Christian band, and we would do the church scene, but we also just did other stuff, and just were Christians in a band. But so I'm really picky. I guess I'm really hesitant to say big, like worldwide tours or even nationwide tours, because I have a lot of friends that tour with huge musicians, and they're like on the road 220 days a year or something like that. And just, that's like a tour for me. I would say we were consistently gigging every weekend, and then sometimes booked for weekend conferences. So I like played when, if you're well known in the church, like the larger mega church scenes, that we've played at like Saddleback or Mosaic, big church conferences like the state youth conferences, giant conference, stuff like that. And then all the while I was doing that, I was playing as a side guitarist for artists that were not in the Christian scene. So like the hip hop scene, or just like the neo soul scene. So I've been lucky to play with one artist. This is before she went on tour with before she was getting ready to go on tour with Michael Jackson. This is it. There's an artist named Judith Hill, who is ridiculous. And so I was a part of a house band where she was singing, and she's incredible. If you don't know who Judith Hill is, she's an incredible musician, incredible singer. She sung at Michael Jackson's funeral, and she's been on tour with everybody. But so people like her. I have a friend that got the Golden Buzzer and won on America's Got, or was like a finalist on America's Got Talent, and so she does a ton of stuff. So I kind of play with her whenever she needs it and just do session work. So I've been able to play with some really cool musicians. Like, yeah, it's been fun.
Wow,
man, that it's always awesome to hear stories like this. So you left Taylor, but then you're back.
Yeah.
How does that work out in this timeline?
Yeah. So when I left and I was, still doing like music and session work for people, I also took a job as a creative arts director at a really large church in Michigan. And so I was doing all that stuff there. And then my husband wanted to come back to San Diego after we were there for 3.5 years. Michigan, it was super cold. I was already not a fan of Michigan. If anyone's from Michigan in the chat, I love you guys. It's great, but not for me when you're born and raised in San Diego. So he wanted to come back and plant a church, and I was totally fine with that because a lot of my family's here and my connections for music are here and like things like that. So we were good. So we came back to do that, and we started a church, and I was kind of like, well, where do I want to work? I was kind of doing music stuff, and I was already in the church scene. I was like, I'm going back to Taylor, and so that's how I landed in the repair department.
Man, repair department.
Yeah.
And that's why we had you on the first time.
Yeah. Yeah.
To walk us through, well, we learned a few things about humidity, but walk us through simple service stuff. So it is interesting when a lot of the times when we get emails to the primetime@taylorguitars.com email, we will get repair questions and we just filter them right to Lindsay. And it's really great to have somebody on the team who knows Taylor's that well that you can just reply. It's fantastic. So, you know what? There's another comment up here by this fella. It says, R. Doug Taylor. I don't know who that is. Maybe I do. I'm just kidding. But he said she's not lying about being good. Lindsay, you are one of the more fantastic players I've had the chance to work with, and I mean, recently she did a little bit of an ad for us. So if you don't mind, I might want to play 30 seconds of that. Do you mind?
Go for it.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't seen Lindsay play, this is what it looks like and sounds like. Oh man, I wanted to start it again. That's how excited I was. Anyway,
is that part of a song you wrote, or is that just a little bit of jamming, or what is that?
I know, it was just jamming. Jay hit me up, I think the night before, and was like, "Hey,
yeah,
we need some stuff." And I was like, and then I start to like, "Well, what do you need? What do you want me to play?" And he's like, "Oh, just whatever." So I just that's just nothing. It's really nothing.
Hey, what are you talking about?
It should be a song.
Nothing.
It should be a song. Somebody should do something with it.
Lund, Andy, she just said it's nothing.
Yeah, I know.
Come on. Yeah, it was something. It was so good. And when we heard it, we have longer like performances of it, right? Because we filmed it. We did like 2 or 3 takes.
We did. And you remember I was like, Jay, just let me know if it's trash and I need to come, because I was really like, I was not happy with how it turned out. But I mean, you made it sound good. You guys did some good stuff. I was so nervous. It wasn't
good.
Right.
It was exciting.
Maybe you should finish it and then call it Humble.
Well. Oh.
I see what you did there.
I see what you did there.
That was fantastic, Mr. Lund. All right. Yeah. So let's get into guitar just a little bit, and then maybe we can go through some stuff. Maybe you could show us how you practice a little. You are a pro, and it's exciting. But this is a Guitar Nerd Talk Show. So one of the things I want to learn from both of you is how you guys, in this case, when we get to your show, your All About Andy show, I'll ask you the same question. So you can start preparing right now.
Thank you.
But Lindsay, when you're looking for a guitar, an acoustic guitar or an electric guitar, what are the things you think about? Do you just look at somebody and say, I want that one? I'm sure that's happened before, but when you're looking for a guitar, what do you think about? What do you do? What's your
Well,
deal?
Yeah, well, definitely. There was a time when I first started playing, was trying to develop my sound, or just I was inspired by players. So like a lot of my early guitars, like my 335 and Strats and things like that, all came from like, well, Spanky Alford, who I love, played a 335. You know, and then Strat, obviously there's so many players that had that iconic sound. So I would say it was definitely by watching artists that I love play and wanting to kind of get their sound down or just kind of have that in my toolbox. Now it's definitely different because I've kind of worked on my own tone and my own sound. So it's about feel. When I pick up a guitar, does it feel good? And obviously some guitars need setting up and things like that. So I don't worry about that too much. Like one thing I do is I check the neck like of guitars, because like if it's a good neck, then you could just set it up. If it's kind of messed up because there's a lot of curves or humps or whatever, then I mean, you can still, if you know how to do it, you can have those things dressed out or fixed. But I look at the neck and I look to see, does it feel good? And then does it sound good? You know, is it inspiring me to play? That sounds really weird, but like sometimes I'll pick up a guitar and it's inspiring me to do things that I maybe never thought of doing. And I'm like, this is the one. So that sounds maybe, you know, superficial, but that's really what it is. That's for me. And the look, obviously the color. I love colors of guitars and looks. I lost you. I can't hear you.
Jay.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
You can't hear me at all?
Now we can. Whew, I thought that was just me again.
I was just talking away. It's the way technology it's working on. Anyway, but what I was saying is that's the thing. That's how it goes. Like, you know, it's in our subconscious at least to look at a guitar and make sure it looks good. That's for certain. Are you predominantly an electric player or an acoustic player? What's your
I would say now, I do mostly electric. I do still play acoustic, but it's just usually for like session work if someone wants an acoustic. But mostly electric. And then I have a classical guitar because again, I have not played classical in a long time and I would butcher it. So I wouldn't even pretend to try and do it for you. But I have classical guitars because of that. So, and I love the sound. Like I'll do neo soul stuff. Like one artist I played for, he's a hip hop artist, and we opened up for Farside, right? If you know anything about like old school hip hop, we opened up a Farside at 4th and B, and I would play nylon on that, like stuff that we did with him. He was super dope. So,
I think Lindsay, hey everybody in the feed, what do you think about this? I have an idea. I'm going to whisper so that these people, they can't hear me. But I think Lindsay and Andy should make a record together and Gabriel O'Brien should produce it.
I'm so ready. I would be so honored to jam with Andy on the Primetime album special.
Maybe we should make a Primetime album.
I agree.
Oh, this is some brain.
We could work on a tune together. That'd be fun.
That would be so fun.
It'd be a good challenge. Yeah.
I would love it.
I mean,
I love collaborating.
You have recording equipment, Lindsay. You have recording equipment, Andy. I do. Gabriel, we know. Okay, so we can let's do this thing. Live brainstorm session. Thank you, everybody. Duet, Bart says right here. Duet. Yes. I would love that. What else do we got? We got some other. Craig. Yes. Lindsay and Andy. Uh-oh. Here we go. He says it. Do it.
No, it's official. No, it's stamped.
It's official.
Wait. Do it. We got more Okay, wait. Is it? Oh. Gabriel O'Brien says, I'm down. Looks like we're going to have to make a Primetime album. This is going to get great.
So good. So good.
All right. So guitar. Taylor guitar. Before we get into what you do now.
Yeah.
Actually, let's talk about what you do now. Then we'll go into that. Your favorite current Taylor guitar, because I think it'd be good to hear your opinion on this one. All
Yeah.
right, your new job.
Yes.
Taylor artist and community relations manager.
Yep.
How did that happen? What does it mean? Where did it come from? And we again welcome you to the squad.
Thank you. Yeah, well, it happened over the summer, and it really was just like this exchange of emails and of ideas, kind of pointing out some things in our within the company. We have an open, like you'll hear from the top up, like, or from, well, really, yeah, from Bob from Bob and Andy and Kurt to like the who are our owners and master designers, to like the executive team. There's an open door policy, and so it came from some just some input on things that we could be doing to like expand our artist roster and diversify it, not just with people, but just with genres and things like that. And Bob has been on the show plenty of times, and I think I've even heard him say, like, he's kind of like, if you have an idea, like, run with it. Like, you have the freedom to run with it. And so that's kind of what happened, and just running, and it's fun. And the role became birthed out of that. Like, you have these ideas, run with it.
So your title was created for you, right? I mean, that
It
position
was.
those
Yeah.
are the best jobs. Nice work. Those are always the best jobs when you create
Yeah.
a position for yourself. Awesome. They
Yeah.
are, man. Times in my life
Yeah.
to work well. Yeah.
They definitely are the best jobs. I don't think there's anybody at Taylor who could do it either. I think it's like a wonderfully fit position for you. It's spectacular. One of the interesting things is the three of us who are on the screen right now are all on the artist relations team. And it was very, very welcomed when Lindsay came on board. You know, we all wear, well, you guys know, we jokingly, I wear different hats, but we wear different hats. I oversee social media. I oversee content. We do this primetime show. Andy has his, you know, he does primetime. He does sales. He's on video for me, et cetera, et cetera. And then he has this entire, you know, Asian market that he has to deal with at the same time. So we all wear different hats. But this was a role that wasn't, you know, we didn't have you in the artist relations team. And Andy, I can speak for myself. I'd love to hear your opinion, but you have been such a welcome. It's a joy. We do these AR meetings once a week where the whole group gets together. It's on Zoom, right? And we talk about what's going on. But like, you're on fire, bringing some of the best talent in such a short amount of time. It's awesome. How do you do it? And tell us about some of the artists.
Yeah, I am having a lot of fun. I think doing this, and it's an honor to be like, I totally agree. When you say you can create your own job and it's something you love, like, that's amazing. Like, it's such a blessing that this was able to unfold. I mentioned I've played with a lot of musicians who have played with even bigger musicians than me. I mean, I would say I was like a mid-tier level. I mean, I've had some cool opportunities like opening for Start, but I was a mid-tier, like, gigging musician. But I've played with a lot of bigger gigging musicians who play with really big artists. Like, so one of the guitarists that I know is the guitarist for Kendrick Lamar and for Eminem and for people like, you know, and so it just started these contacts that I've had and I know, and it just came to me like reaching out, like, they play acoustic, and it's a lot. It's kind of driven out of this desire to change the perception of where the acoustic guitar fits. And I mean, obviously we do dabble in electric things like that, electric guitars, but where predominantly, you know, the acoustic, where does that fit? And I think a lot of people think folk or country, those flat picking things like that, finger style, they don't necessarily go right to like hip hop or neo soul or R&B. There's a whole genre out there called acoustic soul that's really driven India Aries in that world. And so the musicians I've known in that world, they've they love Taylor's, but they've never really been kind of, they've either haven't played them or whatever the case is. So I've just been reaching out to those people in these new genres, these new worlds. Well, they're not new, but these genres that have been untapped, and just getting guitars in their hands and saying, try this. This is going to be perfect for what you're playing. And it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, name some of the artists. I mean, and you guys do yourselves a favor, take notes, go find these artists that she drops, because they are spectacular. It's like changing the game, and it's really, really fun. Go for it.
Yeah. So like Rob Geringer's one, and he's the one I mentioned is Kendrick Lamar's guitarist, but he's played with everybody from Mac Miller to Eminem, and his list goes on. Chris Payton is another one who is an LA session player who plays with Tori Kelly and Katy Perry and Babyface, and his list their list is insane, to be honest. And just now working with Bryce Vine, who just like last year kind of blew up with the song La La Land and Drew Barrymore, those two songs. So working with him right now. Will Gittins, who's like he's a huge R&B writer, and he's kind of coming into his own artistry and starting to write his own project now. But he's written for like Trey Songz and people like Brandy and people in that area. So I mean, there's a lot of names of people, but that's kind of the world that I'm intentionally diving into.
Yeah, it's been so much fun just to add these artists to the roster. And one of the cool things that Lindsay is leading right now is you're going to start seeing a lot more of that representation on our website. We're going to build out a really cool artist relations part of our website. Our web team is spectacular, but as you imagine, again, we keep saying we wear so many hats at Taylor Guitars that if we should have Lisa Aragon on the show once just to tell how in depth the website is. Just,
yes.
I mean, it would blow some of your minds, that's for sure. And how much work she has on her plate every single minute. It's not day, it's minute. I mean, she's well worked, that's for sure. And she does a killer job. But
yes,
our artist representation on our website is going to be really fun moving into the next year. It's so much fun. You're doing such a killer job, and we love having you on the team, that's for sure. So let's dive into one more question, and then we'll get some Q&A from the feed over here. If you guys want to throw your questions in to the feed for Lindsay, go for it. And as you see with our new technology, I can highlight it right on the screen, so it's pretty fun. So Lindsay,
yeah,
we've had some cool guitars come out this year.
Yeah.
I should say, well, we did. We had a couple cool in 2021 already, but in 2020, we launched a few really cool guitars. Before that, early, we launched the entire Builder's Edition collection. We started telling that story. And then the year before that, so what, 2019, right? We launched the Grand Pacific. I know you're a big Grand Pacific person, but as we speak right now, what is your favorite Taylor guitar that you have or that you've been playing?
Yeah. Right now, I would say it's the GT. And I really can't pick like which one, because I really like the K21, but I also really love the Urban Ash. Like it's so good, and it's so fun to play. Like I know it's like the tagline, like the marketing tagline, like serious fun, but like it really is like seriously a fun guitar to play, just the way it feels. And the artists that I've sent it to literally say the same thing. It just feels so good. So that's probably my favorite. I love the GP, like you said. I love the 517, 717. And then honestly, like I'm going to go throw it back, because the guitar I fell in love with for Taylor, like when I started working back in 2005 or whatever it was. I've always loved the 700 series and the 714. At the time we were doing like standard cedar tops, and that combination, the cedar top with the rosewood But 714 is like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
That's your baby.
That's
your
still
that's
that still is probably like, yeah. Like when I was in the repair department and we're getting customers guitars and I'd get a 2006, 2007, 714. I mean, I would just play it and play it and play because they are just, oh my gosh. Yeah.
So wait, you just opened the door on a trick. So let me ask you, should we say that on the air? But like sometimes in repair, when you got a really cool guitar, did you just sit there and play it?
Well, yeah, because you want to test them. Like you have to they get sent in from all over. Yeah, test them. They get sent in from all over the country, and our customer service department is amazing at diagnosing guitars over the phone, but still you don't truly know everything until they get on a bench. And then once they get on a bench, like even with the techs, there's like still a level of them kind of looking it over. And if there's anything that's like, it just goes through a lot of layers of making sure your guitar is going to leave perfect. And so, yeah. And then we test them to make sure they work and they feel good and they sound good. They're not buzzing, all those things. So yes, we get to play them. Sometimes the test goes a little long, maybe, I don't know, but we would always get pulled back. Chris Carter would make sure, he's the manager of the department, that we're all right. I think that one's good. Put it in a case.
Before you got to put the strings on.
Yeah.
That's so good. You have a GT with you, right?
I do. Yeah, I have the Urban Ash one. Yeah.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This guitar is so fun, guys. Seriously.
Seriously fun. Hey, it's like you're in the marketing department.
Yes.
There we go. Hey, we got a couple of questions coming in the feed. Why don't we just go and dive into some Q&A real quick if you're cool with that?
Let's do it.
One right here. What is your favorite electric guitar? That's a good question.
Yeah, a Strat. I like the classic Fender Strat. I mean, Tom Anderson makes some amazing Strats, and I've played them, and I love his stuff. Sir makes really good Strats, but at the end of the day, I have a Fender Strat, and that's my favorite.
Awesome. We got another question from Craig. This is a good one. Putting you on the spot.
Uh-oh.
Can she provide the tabs for the song you played in the AD commercial?
I can do that for you.
All right. That's a good prize. I think that you should hold her up to that. You should send an email to primetime@taylorguitars.com.
Send the email to me.
And she'll follow up. That's a good one. I love it. That's a good one. Oh, here's a good question. One that I actually wanted to touch on. Where did it go, though? I lost it. Here we go. Lindsay, what is your practice regimen?
Yeah. So these days it looks different because I kind of get in practice where I can get in. I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, and just between my role here with Taylor and other things, it's like I don't get to practice as much as I used to. But so a lot of times right now I just put on like albums that I really love, and I just like shed over them. I just play over them and try things, and that's what my practice, because it's fun for me right now. But when I do have time, I love to spend time like focus practices. So sometimes I'll just I'll focus on one chord and I'll just try to play it in a bunch of different positions. You can use caged, which is, like in the basic theory where you basically play the same, the same chord in all the different shapes, C, A, G, E, and D, and then the different inversions of that. So I do that just to kind of keep my chops up as far as remembering the fretboard. And then another really cool thing that's also fun is Spanky Alfred kind of gave a lesson on this one time, is you take a note, like for instance, I might get quiet, but you take a note, like let's say, like that, and you just form chords with that always being the top note. So just like a and then you kind of got to just see what works. But always make sure, you just kind of different like chord melody, just challenging yourself to find chords around one note. That works. So those are that's just like the basic stuff.
That's a good one.
I
That's
like
not
that
big.
one.
I haven't done that. I back that one. You got a statement here by Dennis. This is a good one. Yeah. I like that.
I appreciate that.
Here's there was a good question in here. Maybe if I can find it. We really didn't get a lot of email questions today. Oh, you got more practice routine questions.
Yeah.
I think what we're sensing is we need to do a video of your practice routine and put it up on YouTube.
Let's do it.
All right.
There's
I like that.
there's a question in the chat that's a good question, Jay. It says, as a musician, this is a question for Lindsay. As a musician that gigs, what does your acoustic live setup look like?
Oh yeah, we got another one like this. When you play solo gigs, do you provide your own PA?
Yeah.
What do you use?
No, very old school, like Joe Pass would just plug and play to whatever he wants because he like would stress your tone is in your fingers. So I literally show up. I do like to show up with the DI just in case, but like a DI chord and an acoustic. I have personally I have nothing against it. I think it's super cool. But again, I'm not like a heavy acoustic player anymore, at least. So I've never really played with effects on acoustic, but I love it. Like when I see people do it, it's so dope. But I don't bring a pedal board for my acoustic stuff or anything like that. Just a tuner, a DI, and a chord, and I'm good.
That's awesome. Got another question. What's your favorite pick?
Well, the Taylor Darktone series. I'm just no, I know it's actually our Thermex picks are really cool. The blue swirls are actually my go-tos, but I just love like Dunlop. I've used them forever, and I stay at nothing lower than a 1. I use like a 1.2 usually. In weight. I lose picks a lot too, so I was into those. I forget the company's name. I think they're 5-star or something, but they have like little stars cut in the middle. You know what I'm talking about? Because like when I play and if I'm strumming really, my picks fly everywhere. And so that was like a way to help me not lose my pick. So there's that one.
There's a question.
Yeah.
Does Lindsay have a favorite brand of strings for acoustic guitars?
I think it varies. I like Diodarios and I also like Elixirs, the Elixir Phosphor Bronze. I like Phosphor Bronze though for both. So that's just, they have good tones, or clean, clarity, articulation, all that's really nice.
There's another question. With experience working on guitars at Taylor, have you ever thought about becoming a hobbyist luthier?
Yeah, no, I have attempted to make an electric. Electrics could be pretty easy because you can get jigs, you can get, order like a body blank, things like that. And so that I've thought about, doing and finishing, and because I have a body blank that I've worked on and I just put it down. But acoustics, like, man, that world is so like, you have to be so good at all things. And I'm not, when it comes to like body work and stuff like, oh my gosh, like that's a whole one thing our company does now is people have opportunities. And I think they're more intentional about moving people so people can get exposed to like all the different departments. When I was working there, we had so much work. We were in our departments, and then you could obviously transfer out, but I'm so jealous of them because someone that was in final assembly for 3 or 4 years could now be in body, and they're learning all the trades really they're all craftsmen, but they're learning all the trades. And so I have no idea how to build a body. I'll be honest. I've binded something and I'm horrible at it. It's so meticulous. Like you have to be so good. So that's awesome. A long answer of no.
Oh man, we got a celebrity, in my opinion. We got a celebrity question. Brian Trusby is one of my most favorite guitar players.
Okay.
He works Wildwood Guitars in Colorado. He's spectacular. But this is such a fantastic question. Hi, Lindsay. Do the many body styles and tone wood combinations available on Taylor's inform or influence the way you play them? If so, how?
Yeah. I mean, I think absolutely, right? Because I've always liked the Grand Auditorium body shape because it was so versatile. And I do a lot of like finger style, like plucking, like especially with like R&B stuff. And so, but I also strum, like when I was doing certain things, I'd strum really heavy. So that was kind of the perfect world for both. You get really nice articulation for finger style and strumming. So definitely the bodies will inform and how I play them. If I have a big dreadnought, I'm probably not gonna pick it as much. I'm just gonna use it for strumming and doing that and kind of and digging in that way. And the GC, if I have a grand concert, I'm probably going to just mostly use it for finger style stuff. So for sure. And then the tone woods, yeah, we talk, I think there's been people that like Andy's broken down, both Andy Powers and Andy have broken down all the different properties of the tone woods that can affect the way you play. So I personally know that for my style, for what I like, I love like rosewood or mahogany for the tone woods. And for a top, I like cedar, but spruce is obviously like standard. So
yeah. How do you like the urban ash?
I love the urban ash, and I was, it's such an it's an innovative thing that we were looking for a new wood to use in a new way, and to find, like, to hear what it sounds like. It's really, you heard Andy say it, we sound like a broken record probably, but it's really closely like comparable to mahogany. So I really love the sound. You get this mid-range, this warmth, this full body, but you also get like the clarity in picking and in finger style stuff. So it's just a cool guitar. So I dig it.
Yeah, it's spectacular. I would back Bob on the geometry too. And the only, not from experience, but from sitting in a room with Andy Powers and Bob Taylor explaining the geometry of a guitar, right? And now dissecting that, embracing it, and understanding what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I worked on toured and worked on guitars, guitar tech for years, and I had no idea what any of that meant. So I back you. That guitar it's spectacular for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You got a couple more questions here, then we'll move the show on. This is a good one. Practice regimen again, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
Does Lindsay practice scales? I remember when Nick Vinaglue was on the show, he's talked about scales.
Mm-hmm.
You practice scales?
I do. I mean, like I said, right now, I haven't spent a ton of time doing that. I'm just going to be honest, but yeah, totally. But when I had more of a disciplined schedule laid out, especially when I was gigging more, and definitely before kids, scales and arpeggios and modes, all those things were definitely like in the first chunk. I try to get to me, it's the boring stuff out of the way. Like, do that in the first chunk of my practicing for like 15 minutes.
Oh man, this is like a Sharpie's question. This is like a stump the guest question.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lindsay, if you could only play one model the rest of your life, what would it be?
Are we talking Taylor or are we talking anything?
Let's talk Taylor right now.
Taylor, if I can only play one,
the Taylor show.
Yeah, right. That's right. I forgot. No, I'm just kidding. I want to say the GT, but like I haven't. Obviously, I'd have to say the 714 because I played it for so long. So
really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I remember we had Bob on the show and we asked him the question. He was like, "Hey, 14 CE."
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah.
I mean that they are really good instruments.
Yeah.
714. I have a bunch of players that I work with who that's their guitar of choice as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really, really, really great guitar.
It is.
But you said you like the 2005, 2006 models, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just like the rosewood and cedar combo, and I think I could don't go running calling salespeople, because I don't know if this is accurate. You could be able to know this. I think you can order them with cedar still, right? Sometimes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, yeah, I think I like that combo. And then I like the appointments, like the rosewood binding up against the rosewood body inside. I just like the whole look of it, and it's just a classic. It's beautiful.
Right. Yeah.
It's a good
interesting
guitar.
because like I love that model too, but I really fell in love with it after Andy's redesign. I'm not sure exactly what year that was, but that was he went in and tweaked the 700 series, and I thought that was the year when we had so many rosewood combinations that you could actually hear a difference between a 414 CER and a 714 and an 814 and a 914, even though they're all the same combinations. He has that ability to design for each series, and they all sound different, which is, I think, pretty amazing. You know?
No, it is for sure.
I think he changed the 700 series in 16, maybe the first year I started at Taylor.
Yeah.
That might have been the first video project that I had to work on, which was wild. Anyway, so we got one more thing here. This is more of we need to hear a story. And our good friend and I Know What Love Is partner, right? Zebo was in the video. He hung out with us, and he has this question right here. How about a funny Taylor work story, Lindsay? And then we will go into 2 minutes of sports and wrap up the show.
Oh my gosh. You're putting me on the spot.
How about this? Do you got any? No, you can't put people on the spot.
I can't put anybody on the spot. I'm trying to think. I mean, I will say when I can't think of like a particular story, but when I was, I mean, both in like final assembly and in repair, there's just such good camaraderie, and like everybody's having fun, and everyone's getting their work done, and everyone loves what they're doing, and there's just a lot of joking. So there's always fun. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I can think of a really good one.
Can you?
Yeah. So I'm on the marketing team, and we're putting out communication about this episode of Primetime. And I'm thinking to myself, Andy Lund, he mispronounced her name. I better not do anything, dumb like that. And then every single one of us approved a misspelling of your last name. So I know I already told that story.
Yeah, that is a pretty funny story.
It's going to go down in history for something. It's going to be great. Anyway,
oh my gosh.
Lindsay Love, we would love to hear you play a little. If you'd be down, maybe we might have the Zoom pedal on there a little, but I'd love to hear you riff out just a little bit before we go into ending up the show. How's that?
Yeah, let me see. I'm not sitting in the most comfortable chair, but let me try and I'm short, so listen.
That's why we put you on a stage.
The best, like one of the best things you can do when you're ready to play is to make sure you're 100% comfortable. Jay can attest. Like when I was doing that video, the guitar was sliding off of me because the stool was too high and my feet didn't reach the bottom very well. It's horrible. So be comfortable.
Hey, the best way to make a good video is to make the artist or the talent totally uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Can you hear that?
You got some requests to sing.
Are
we going to have you set up a little different for you to sing next time? Is that what it's going to be?
Yeah,
Are we-
I mean, I could sing dry, but it definitely is not like Andy, because Andy's got the nice reverb effect and all sorts of things, and it sounds good. Like dry is kind of
All
boring.
right, here's the deal. I got you. I hear you loud and clear, BT. He wants
What-
to hear you sing.
Is he the one? Is he
Yeah,
the
but you got some more in there. So here's the deal. We're going to get her set up so that we can have her sing on more of these episodes moving forward. But goodness, you're a great player. Andy, I get to film you guys. You know what? You're also a really good player. And I get to watch from this side. And it's so spectacular to hear you guys play and work with such talented people.
Andy's so good.
Thanks.
Seriously.
I'm loving this idea of a primetime record. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have two more segments, right?
Yeah.
One, is my favorite segment of the show, but we have Lindsay's question. Lindsay, you're not allowed. You are not allowed to ask your own question. So Andy is going to take it today. Andy, do you have a song?
Yeah, I'm going to ask Lindsay's question to her.
In the song? No. All right.
No,
take
I'm
it away.
going to sing the song and then I'll ask the question.
What do you wish for? Where do you go? Who is your hero? We want to know. Sometimes they're hard to answer. So much to dream of. Lindsay, get ready. Here's the question for love.
So good.
So good. So
Okay,
good.
so Lindsay's question for Lindsay needs a little bit of setup, but you are really in a really cool spot. You work at a great company. You have a really cool job that nobody else in the world has your job, right? Nobody. So, but you are a guitar player first, right? So who, if any, artist could come to you and say, hey, Lindsay, I know you got a good job. I know you love what you're doing, but I need you to go out on the road with me for 2 years. And, we're going to travel around. Let's pretend we're not in a COVID era here. I'm booked for 2 years. We're going to travel around the world. We're going to gig. We're going to make a record. But it's a 2-year deal and it'll be good money, but you're not going to be able to retire. Right. Yeah. But who could do that knowing that it would take you away from Taylor and perhaps you would lose your Taylor job?
Yeah. Well, it's hypothetical because I would say the real answer is nobody right now. Like I have no desire to tour with anybody. Like, because I'm just, if you would have said in my 20s, like for sure, before I had a family, if I was still single right now, or even if I was married but didn't have kids, like I would leave my husband for some time, but my kids, like, so nobody would get me to do that. But hypothetically speaking, I would love to, like, if her came, or like if Jasmine Sullivan, I mean, there's a bunch of artists that probably would make me go, dang, let me risk it all. Like, think about risking it all. Like Beyonce, Charlie Puth, who's like a ridiculous musician, and his music just seems like it would be so fun to play live. There's quite a few artists where I love their musicianship and their art so much that it would definitely be tempting to risk it all.
Cool.
Yeah. That's a really good question, Andy.
That's a really good question.
That's that's a stumper. You should put that in your question file, Lindsay.
I am. That and the useless talent. Those are the ones that we like right now.
Useless talent. That's fantastic. All right, Andy, you know what time it is. Do you got a song?
I do. But you know what, Jay? Earlier you asked me if we had to show the love song for our coworkers, and I have one now. So can I just play that? Because I agree with you.
Time out. Did you write a song while we were?
I was trying to hear it in my head. Hopefully it's going to work. But I agree with you. The people that are working at the factory right now are blowing my mind every day. So let's see what happens here. Everybody at Taylor has been working hard to get guitars into your hands. High fives all around. Thank you to everyone for your effort and all of the planning. So we're showing the love to everyone in El Cajon. Production, HR, and maintenance have shown amazing resolve and dedication to succeed. Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts. 2021 is off to a great start. There we go. Thanks to everybody in El Cajon. We love you all, and we couldn't stay doing the show if we weren't still kicking butt and building guitars and shipping them all over the world. So we really appreciate everybody who's doing that right now.
Man, I promise you. You know what? One of my favorite Bob Taylor quotes is "Get the freak out of here."
Mm-hmm.
We have an incredible team of people that we get to go to work with every day virtually, right? Most of us don't. We're not at the factory, and we're doing that on purpose so that you guys can get these instruments into your stores, so we can support people like Paul Tobias and Brian at Wildwood. So, wow, that was a good song, man. Thank you.
It was.
And I think it's time for 2 minutes of sports.
Okay, this is going to be a little bit wacky, but hang in there with me, all right?
Oh no, you got a wacky 2 minutes of sports song?
Talking 2 minutes of sports. There was a streaker on the field. He broke free at the 40, chased to the 30, broke a tackle at the 20, down the middle in the 10, slid at the 1, there was a goal line stand. Pull up your pants, man, and be a man on 2 minutes of sports.
That was so good. You know what? We could pivot 2 minutes of sports and talk about that guy. Do you know that guy put a bet on the fact that there would be a streaker, and then he became the streaker, and he bet like $1,000 and ended up winning like 375,000. Yeah. Zebo wrote it in the chat.
Good for him.
Have you heard the announcer Brian Harlan? Have you heard his play-by-play of that?
It's so good.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
If you haven't, search it, man. It's so funny. I listened to it like 8 times.
Oh
the play-by-play of that going down from the sportscaster's mouth. It's priceless, man. But anyway.
So good.
Gosh.
Anyway, Lindsay, 2 minutes of sports could probably be about 15 seconds of sports.
We could start a podcast.
Lindsay.
Yeah.
I'm wearing this Lakers hat for you and Kobe.
You are.
LeBron James. When did you become a LeBron James fan? And if you were a LeBron James fan and just wholeheartedly a LeBron James fan, does that make you a Cavs fan and a Heat fan?
Yep.
I mean, how does this work? Do you just follow the guy around? What's up?
I'm a wherever he at fan. Wherever he at, I am a fan.
And why?
I think that we don't, and this is across all spectrums, not just sports. I think we aren't very good as a people at appreciating greatness, like once in a lifetime greatness when it's in our faces. We critique, we tear down, we do this, we compare, and it's like it's only there for a blip, and we'll never see another one again. We'll never see another. I was like that. I didn't see Jordan's career. I'm too young. I remember a little bit of it like in the 90s, but not enough to appreciate his whole career. I saw all of Kobe's and I loved him. I was a Kobe fan. And now with LeBron, same thing. It's just like he's so good. And I love what he does for his community. I love his fan, like everything about LeBron. I'm his diehard. I am probably his biggest fan. And
Biggest
yeah,
fan?
probably.
Biggest fan.
I went to his game in Detroit. I've been to LA. I follow him. I didn't go to Miami, but yeah.
All right, fine. You can be his biggest fan. Zebo's a really big fan as well.
Okay.
And, Paul Tobias has 2 words for you.
MJ.
You
Yeah.
see?
Just
We
saying.
can't-
Anyway,
we
I don't
can't-
think there's an argument. I think they can all be great. I think it's spectacular. As you all know, I'm a Bulls fan.
Yeah.
You know, I love the Pistons. My mom's big Pistons fan. And I got to see the Bulls and the Warriors play when I was a very young kid, and I fell in love with the Warriors franchise. Saw Michael Jordan. I mean, he was wearing MJ1s, man. I mean, it was wild. I got to see it all. So, and then of course, you know, Bob Taylor's cousin, Phil Jackson's the greatest. Come on.
The
All of it's just
greatest
spectacular.
coach.
There we go. 2 minutes of sports is up. It's a wrap. Ladies and gentlemen, next week we will be bringing trivia back to the show. Prepare yourself for some good prizes this year. Thank you so much. We appreciate you every single week joining us. We hope you enjoy our new production. We've upped the game just a little bit. Cameras will be rolling into people's hands soon. And next time you see Bob Taylor, he'll actually have real light instead of a flashlight with a piece of toilet paper over it, which is truth. So we appreciate you so much. Andy, do you want to take it away? Next week, join us. We're going to have a really, really good show. And yes, Robert, the answer to the question is 1974.
Absolutely.
Take it away, Andy.
What was it? What was it? It was prime time. It was prime time. What the heck was it? What was that? Well, that was prime time. We learned a lot about Lindsay. It was great to hear her play. She used to live in Michigan, but it's too cold there for her these days. Such a groovy singing style, I could listen all night long. She's really good at jamming, but she lied about her saxophone. It was never prime time. On prime time. See you next Tuesday, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay safe out there.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good week. We'll see you next week.